I want to show you the difference between weaving yarn and knitting yarn. And there will be exceptions to these generalities that I'm about to explain, but overall, by and large, this holds true. So first of all, let's talk about the weaving yarn. Usually, not always, but usually weaving yarn is on cones, and usually the weight is labeled on the inside of the cone. This one isn't, but you'll notice that weaving yarn is measured with what looks like a fraction, and the bottom number is how many plies are in the yarn, and then the top number is how many strands make up each twist or each ply, and the higher the number, the thinner your yarn is going to be. The lower the number, the thicker and bulkier it's going to be. So a 3-2 yarn is thicker than a 10-2 yarn. But this particular yarn is Australian merino wool that I got from Saudi No Mori. And if you'll notice, the yarn doesn't have a whole lot of stretch to it. It's really taut. There's only one ply, only one twist in this. It's just one. But there's not a whole lot of spring. And most weaving yarn is not springy like this, especially if you're working with cotton or linen. Not a whole lot of stretch and squishiness. So then let's talk about the knitting yarn. Usually they'll come in skeins like this, or you might get a twist in a hank, or a cake or a ball, but they're measured differently. They'll have, well, depending on knitting or crocheting, what size needle you'll need, and also tell you the weight here in ounces, grams, how many yards or how many meters you can get out of this. So it's even measured differently than a weaving yarn cone. Then also, the yarn has a lot more spring to it. It's got a lot more stretchiness, and this one in particular has a lot more twist. You can't see it probably in this video, but there's 5 or 6 strands in this, and it's definitely squishier overall. Like, it's got that nice squish factor. This doesn't. This is the squishy one, this isn't. But anyway, depending on projects, you can use either or. With the kind of weaving that I do, I can use both kinds, but if you're doing knitting, this would probably be better. If you're doing weaving, this would probably be better. But depending, again, on the kind of project, you might be able to get away with using either one of these.